here, thank God I'm still alive. I'm loading up my brand new mud boggin' four-wheel drive. I got 600 screaming horses pushing cold black steel. I can hardly wait to get behind the wheel.
Hello and welcome to the Muddin the Compound. I'm here today with the lovely Annette, Rocky Mays, and our guest, Rob Thornton. Rob, why don't you tell us a little bit about this year out at the compound in the Mud Bog?
It was very fun this year. We went out there, had a great time. It's a good location, nice and close, convenient for all the local boggers. Overall, good time.
Rocky, what'd you think?
That's good to hear. Like I say, we tried to continuously improve it all year long. You know, we made a lot of changes and changing a bunch more this spring. That way we have another good season. Like I say, it's been a continuous improvement, but for first year out, I think we did pretty good.
Sounds good. Well, before we get to your garage, Rob, why don't we look at a few clips of some other boggers and we'll see what we, if there's anything on there that we'd like to talk about.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
So what do you think? Is this truck going to make it through this? Looks kind of wet.
Absolutely. Got the magic tires on. He's going to walk through it.
I don't know. He gets that engine wet, he'll be done.
Oh, no. Here comes the magic tires. There they are.
Yeah, it's going.
He might make it. Oh,
there it is.
looks like he made it out.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we have Rob here as our guest, because he knows way more about it than apparently I do. I figured he was going to get stuck for sure.
Nah, you'd be amazed what you get off the magic tires and the lucky bounce.
Sounds good, Rob. Well, let's head out to your garage and take a look at your truck. What's the name of it again?
Loud and Obnoxious.
Sounds good. Fits.
Good time.
It fits my guest here.
How you doing? Kirk Soulier from the Country Compound Mud Bog in Emily City, Michigan. I'm down in Warren today with Rob Thornton at Fast and Fair Automotive. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your truck, Rob?
Well, what we have here is a 1963 F100. Put on a hybrid 2.5 ton, 5 ton on the front, 5 ton on the rear, 18-inch coilovers, 543 cubic inch big block Ford. Roughly around 900 horse. Baby goes through the dirt.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your tires and wheels on the truck? I noticed the way they are set up, they're a little different, and we'll talk a little bit about your axles too. And your stops are custom. So why don't you tell us about it, Rob?
Well, they're 2026 rim to make the tire balloon out wider to give me a little bit more, we'll call it buoyancy in the dirt, you know, trying to stay on top of it instead of just falling through. The front axle now is a 2.5 ton, 5 ton hybrid. It's got a 5 ton knuckle here with gear-armed axle shafts on a 2.5 ton housing and a custom spool on the inside of it to be able to stand the brunt of the tread of these tires, just so it just doesn't break. The bump stops, those are FOAs. They come with nice mounting brackets and everything else. These guys here, what they do is they stop the axle from colliding with the oil pan or any of the other undercarriage of the truck.
Rob was out at our Country Compound in Emily City, Michigan in the Freestyle event, and we've got some great footage of this truck out there. But why don't you tell us a little bit about that day you were out at Country Compound in the Freestyle?
Actually, that was Dylan that was driving that day. You know, if you want to talk about that, we can have him come out here and talk about it.
Great. Well, let's do that. I'm with Dylan. He was actually the driver at the freestyle competition at the Country Compound here in 2014. He was actually driving Loud and Obnoxious. That's the name of the truck. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that day, Dylan, when you were out there having a good time in our freestyle?
It was actually running real great. Handled real great, and bog setup was real nice, and all the jumps were pretty good. And truck ran great.
Competition clips.
Watch any more clips?
Yeah, what else you want?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Yeah, let's
go ahead and go to another clip now.
Let's look at more clips. Oh, we got the high-tired Jeep here. What do you think, Rob?
Looks like a rough ride. A good time, but a rough ride.
Yeah, they got a lot of water out there.
Mm-hmm.
throwing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it through her.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
He's going back for more. Looks like a great time out there.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It's always nice to get the family involved, get out there and have a good time.
For sure.
How about that one?
He looks pretty
That
light.
looks absolutely insane to do.
Oh, look at that guy. He's a mess.
Just absolute mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have no doors or windows. You're going to end up covered in it.
Absolutely.
They'll have to have the people power washer for him. What do you think of all this craziness in that?
I think they're all going to stuck.
You do? Well, if they all got stuck, we'd spend all our time pulling them out. We would never get any bogging done.
That happens at times. Yeah. That's why you have a lot of equipment out there to get them out.
A lot of equipment.
There you go. There's Grant.
There's Grant. His mini monster truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was his first time out.
Yeah, that was his first time out with that truck. He unveiled it there for this year.
Things been looking good and better every every bog.
Sounds good.
This is Yahtzee.
That
This is
looks like
out
Yahtzee.
over at Luke's place.
Oh, okay.
Where that clip's from.
That was all water there.
He ran good all year.
Yes, he did. Very, very strong. Very impressive for a first-year-out truck.
Yeah, he did really good. He was very entertaining out at the compound this year.
Yeah, he made it through the big pit the first time
He
out
did.
there before we started up.
He did. Is that the dam jump?
Yeah, that guy, he's out of Ohio, right?
He come from like Grand Rapids or something. He come from a distance. That guy in the blue Chevy
Yeah.
for the Freestyle.
Yep.
He beat that truck all day
Oh, yeah. It
long
held up
out
well.
there. That was truly impressive. There was
Yeah.
8 hours of flogging on that truck,
Yeah.
and it took it every minute. It was like
Yeah.
an unwanted stepchild. Just like, blam, you're taking that.
Now we got a Ford finally. I've been waiting for one.
Right?
This
There
is
you
the
go.
Canadians. These
Yeah, that's,
people here.
Darcy.
That's an impressive truck.
Don't
Yeah.
tell me the Ford's going to get stuck. Come
It
on,
does.
come on.
It does.
Oh, no.
Does he?
The only truck that made it through there the whole day was Big Shock's, the yellow one of theirs. His son was driving it.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that truck
How deep was that hole?
10 or 11 feet.
Really?
By the time, that truck there is like 12 and a half or 13 foot tall.
Yeah.
Wow.
That truck.
Yeah.
That is a big truck,
Yeah,
and
it's-
it ate it to the middle
It's
of
nice
the body.
to see him come over. I know he has a lot of trouble crossing the border. He's got to be spotless before it
Spotless.
goes
There
back.
is
Otherwise, they
no
complain about
cross contamination or bringing things from other countries into our place, so you can't have no dirt on your crack.
Yep, no, they don't want anything from here over there.
No.
That's
Yahtzee again.
Yahtzee
Yeah.
again. That's that same hole. He kept trying it after the big Ford got stuck in the Canadian.
The nice thing
then
about the diesels, you ain't got to worry about getting wet.
No, but he's done
He
there.
got water in the transmission and took it out at Luke's at this one when he was out here
Yahtzee
playing with
did?
it. Yes, he did. And
I thought he spoke the Transit Country Compound, too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did smoke a trans
Yeah,
there,
because
too.
he
Yeah.
went way down in that money pit the second time he tried going through it.
Yeah, he actually took the trans out of there at that time.
He was able to back out of there, though, which was
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
To get that stuck and back
Definitely
right
didn't
out.
get it hung.
Always nice to get out on your own power.
That one's done.
Yes, this guy right here, he was awesome. I don't know where he came from, but he hopped out the truck and he shouted, "This is old school bogging forever." The motor and the carb was truly underwater. I don't know how it stayed running. Just watch.
Looks like
It
it's gonna
gets better.
disappear.
The hood goes under the water. I don't know how. But he hopped out the truck. He's like, "This is old school bogging." He was just excited about flogging his truck and drowning it.
That was pretty impressive.
That was impressive.
that was
He so drove right off
Yeah,
into the big
shocked he
truck
wasn't
hole. I mean,
asked for a
he was
life
like, "I
jacket
got
on
this."
that
Yeah,
one.
for sure. Oh, here's our buddy Muddy. He
He comes from
spends.
Ohio.
He does.
Yeah.
He spends lots
Yeah.
of time at the compound. He's one of our every bog guys.
Yeah. Now that truck has come leaps and bounds from
Oh, yeah.
the beginning to the end of this season.
Yeah.
Leaps
Yeah, and he
and
never drives easy. Always on.
Yeah.
We were at Trucks Gone Wild at Hale, and he is cutting the tires at Hale with a carving knife.
Really?
In between mud bog runs. You'd go out there and wheel it for a couple hours, come back, and he would take like
Carve
a nap,
out.
and you'd come up and carve them up, and you'd have like a quarter of a tire done, then it was a half a tire, then it was a whole tire, then it was over the whole
Wow.
weekend, he cut all them tires on that truck there. He
Yeah,
had
that's
it
the way
cut
to
off
do it. At least
200
he ain't
and
wasting
something
a
pounds.
weekend just sitting in the garage.
Right?
I figured you'd offer somebody a beer and have them carve on your tire for a
Right.
second. But,
That'd work.
Yeah, he carved them all himself.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, I think we've seen enough clips. Maybe we need to head over to your garage and check your truck out.
No problem.
What's the name
Let's
of your
go
truck?
there. Loud and Obnoxious.
Loud and Obnoxious.
There we go. Sounds like a plan.
In the garage.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the bog at the country compound up here in Emily City, Michigan, and tell us a little bit of what you thought about it.
Country compound had a great layout. A little bit large, needs to be shrunk down a little bit, but ample parking, had good pavilion area, had a lot of bonuses to it. But the bad thing was it was too big for the spectators. Other than that, I'd give it 2 thumbs up.
Well, thanks a lot, Rob. We have considered making our track a lot smaller than it was last year. We're going to put in way more parking where people can actually be all the way around the outside of the bog with a safety barrier, and they'll be able to tailgate. That's what we're going to do. So down on our east end, we have our pits up on the west end of the property, down on the east, and we will have pits also, and all the way around the outside of it too. But thanks a lot for giving us your opinion on what we need to do out there.
No problem. Anything I can do to help, let me know.
Thanks, Rob.
Proper recovery tips.
So when you get this truck stuck in a bog, what's the best way that you as the owner of the truck and driver sometimes, how would you extract it?
It totally depends on what type of mud that you're in. If you're in some peat moss that's got some great suction, you're going to want to grab by the axle so you always have upward force to break suction. If you're in like clay or some drier dirt, then you can grab it from up top here, which then you're not going to get any type of suction from those type of dirt, so you're not going to pull your suspension apart.
Today on Safety Corner.
Why don't you tell us about safety? As a bog owner, safety is one of the most important things for me.
Absolutely. Safety is the #1 fact in any of this stuff. Nobody wants to go out and have a bad day by getting hurt. First things first, if you're going to go out and start playing in this, you at least need a decent set of seats, 4 or 5-point harnesses, and if you're trying to jump the truck, at least a full 10-point roll cage to try to keep it safe and keep everybody going home.
In the garage.
How you doing? I'm Kirk Soulier from the Country Compound Mud Bog in Emily City, Michigan. We're here with Rocky Mays, and I got Cory with Going Deep.
Hey, Cory. So, are you from Michigan, or where are you from?
I'm actually from Ohio. I moved up here to Michigan recently last year, so it's a whole new adventure for me up here.
Yeah, how's it been going?
It's been going sweet. A lot of bogs going around up here. A lot of places to go. It's always fun. Everyone loves to do the same thing I do, so it's a great time up here.
Good. Mud a lot different, or about the same as Ohio?
It's a little bit thicker up here.
Is it?
You got a little
Yeah.
peat moss here and there, and just some thicker stuff up here, so it's all fun.
So what brought you up to Michigan?
Actually driving, working on monster trucks full time, and actually Jim Cole, the Avenger, his shop was up here, and that's why I moved up here, so I brought all my toys and stuff with me, so.
Nice toys.
It's like a traveling circus what I bring.
There you
We're
go.
glad to hear it, that's for sure. Great to have him from Cory in Michigan.
Real nice truck. So, what can you tell us about the truck?
Basically, it's a tube chassis that I built on square tube, but built about 5.5, almost 6 years ago now. And it's full 4-link front and rear. It's got 20-inch coilovers front and rear, 2.5-ton rock walls, 14.924 tires on it. Just something I basically built in the drive boat, 2 sawhorses. It's what I learned to do everything on. It's like pretty much a project that you always keep doing. So.
Is it much different to drive than your typical leaf spring truck?
It's actually easier. The leaf spring will throw you around. It'll jar you. It'll bounce you sideways. These, for the most part, will suck up anything and it'll give you a smooth ride.
Kind of a dune buggy.
Yeah, dune buggy. It's called a Cadillac.
What kind of power is it?
Normally, well, my spare motor's in right now, but my big motor's normally about 850, 900 horse. So But it's alcohol mechanical injection, the big block Chevy. It's all tunnel ram setup. It's pretty potent.
Yeah. Is there anything other than the part of the body that's original on the truck?
Actually, the chassis. Chassis is the original. Everything else has been added since then. It's every year I try and make additions to it, make it stronger for all the events that keep getting wilder. The country compound, and every place we go to, the game keeps stepping up. So we gotta keep stepping the trucks up with it. Basically, we got my truck and AJ's truck here, and it's winter time, so it's kind of upgrade.
Yeah, I see a lot of I don't know, high-tech cutout pieces and stuff like that. Is that just for looks or?
Just for looks and strength. Everything I did, like the gussets and stuff, I'll try and put the truck name in it. I'll try and use spider webs. I try and keep one big theme. That way, when people look at it, they can look underneath of it and actually see the truck name, and it just brings their attention to it more than just something plain, you know. Right. I like the bright colors where everyone notices, so I like to stand out a little bit. So.
Yeah. About how many events do you do a year with this truck?
Typically around 10 to 12, depending on if it intervenes with my schedule or not with racing. So anytime I have free time, normally about 10 events a year.
All in Michigan, or?
I travel all across the country. I go anywhere from Florida to North Carolina to Michigan to Vermont, and up and down the whole East Coast. Pretty much the whole traveling that I go. So.
How's this in comparison to driving a monster truck?
It's actually pretty similar. I mean, basically the way you hit jumps, the way you land, the way it feels. And this is a lot snappier off the line than what a monster truck is, just for you're about half the weight of a monster truck, but it's still about the same feel. So.
Yeah. You've actually done a complete backflip and landing with this.
Yes, sir. I did a 360 backflip actually last year. It's been a little over a year now, and was the first ever to do the backflip in a mud truck. So it was actually one of my higher achievements in my career for going like this. So.
It was spectacular. I actually seen it. It was spectacular.
Now,
will this thing pull the front end off the ground when you jump on it?
It'll come up a few inches.
Yeah.
The more, basically the suspension of these trucks, it'll soak up the rear instead of just lift the rear or lift the front. You see drag cars will pull the front while they're so rigid. But we have 20 inches of travel, and it just soaks it up and it just pulls it. So.
Yeah. You got a lot of safety stuff on here, don't you?
Yes, I have a lot of stuff on my truck. I got basically drive shaft loops, anywhere from drive shaft loops to flywheel shields to seats to harnesses to fire extinguishers, full neck brace, full fire suit, even all the way down to a neutral safety switch. I try to keep everything as safe as I can, because you never know, if something could happen and I don't want other people to get hurt. I'd rather be on the safer side of everything. So.
And as a mud bog owner, that's the most important thing to me, is everybody's safe. The whole time we've got competition or anything going on, I'm actually a nervous wreck for my drivers and for everybody who's here, because the last thing you ever want is somebody to get hurt. Well, it was great talking to you, Cory. I'm glad I got to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming up here. And wait till you see what we bring out next year.
That'd be good.
Can't hardly wait.
Competition clips. build updates.
Alright, so we're here in the garage today working on the Hummer project, just kind of doing a little review. Just let everybody know this is the project. This is where we're at with it right now. I've just recently got the motor in, and these are all custom mounts, built everything from scratch. Not the normal typical motor mount area, but it's set in the rear rather than the front. Hoping to be able to pull some wheel stands with it, something a little bit different. It's not going to be a superstar, but be able to have some fun, play with it a little bit. The axles on this are 5-ton military axles. You can see where they've been torched off. All the these come with drum brakes. They've been all cut off. Everything's been cleaned up a bit. The hubs can be turned so that you get the front and rear tires in line. They're normally not that way because they have dual wheels on the back. A lot of things go into these things. This center chunk, for instance, front and rear, they've been pulled. You got to pull the axle shafts out. The center chunk got pulled out. We just set it on the floor. We weld them up, make them full true posi, so both tires are turning instead of one. So on this one in particular, all 4 wheels are always spinning. And then you can see these are just temporary pulls in here, keeping this thing in at the ride height. Kind of selected where we want the frame so that I get the right clearance. The rest of the ride height to be positioned from the body, how it gets mounted onto the frame. I got the lower link bars have been put in place. They're all installed. I still have the upper link bars to do, and then we'll need to get like big shocks or CNC overtime shocks, something like that for the back. Maybe even you can use, some guys use coil springs and airbags. That still isn't quite determined on this, not that far yet. Just working on cleaning the frame and putting all the pieces together. Alright, so we're over here on the side. Just going to go ahead and explain a few of these things. Like I said, it is a custom rear mount. It does have rubber bushings in it. Some guys will mount, and I've got vehicles that are mounted. The motor is hard mounted. This one we're keeping rubber blocks in it. We got the original rubber mounts here, and then it's all custom down to the frame. Trying to make sure it's strong enough that if this thing does go up in the air, it's a pretty big engine. It's a 5.9 Cummins, so it's a lot of weight jarring down when we do come down. We have a transmission hooked on right now. Just kind of a mock-up. May not be the one that I go with, but we got something in position. I've carved the frame out a little bit. I got a big reverse engine SCS case that'll be going in here. I've made the plate up for that. Things are coming together, just getting the parts together. Like I say, they got the lower 4 link bars in here. This will get more support once we get the rest of it together. And then now if you can see the front, we're staying with leaf springs. I'll be adding airbags for landing just to give a smoother ride. Again, this is all welded posi. We've got our steering arm towards the back in case we go over cars and things like that. We don't hit it. It'll get hydraulic steering. We'll see that later on in the project. And like I say, it's all debricked. So the axles are all set. The frame's looking pretty good. And we got our suspension in motion, and we'll just continue on from there. But if you want, we'll take a look at the body next time. Alright, up on the front you see the leaf spring mounts. These are all custom made, specific to this axle for this vehicle. They've been angled to pitch the axle the way we want. All custom U-bolts, handmade, we go in and have them made. And then what I did here was just angle iron, and they got piping that goes through, and it's all welded up. It's just all about mounting that axle. Everybody with every truck, they do something different. A lot of guys, stock just doesn't work. So that's how we do the front ends. Alright, so what we have here is the SES reverse case. This is how we were able to mount the engine in the back of the vehicle rather than the front. It's just for better weight distribution. This one here in particular has a 2-wheel drive option, which is down here. There's a lever there. It gets all linkage together, so you can actually go from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive while you're in the truck. These are the 5-ton flanges. What they do is they drop right on here. They slide on, and then this is a coupler that's what connects it to the transmission. There's another piece that slides in the trans that fits that. And then this is a custom mounting plate that I made. And what that'll do is that slides down in between the frame rails, gets welded in, and then this is bolted together so that we can pull this thing in and out as we need. Nice thing about these is they have a really easy to remove plate. Once that plate's removed, you can change the gearing. So you can go 1-to-1 up to like 4 or 5-to-1. So you get a lot of options as far as what you do for gearing. And it just depends on tire size. Alright, so we're here with the Hummer project. This is the heart of the project, the body. This is what started it all. I came across this out of a salvage yard. It's a body that's never been built. They call it a body in white. It's never been on the road. Just been sitting around. It's rust free. There's no wiring, no interior. It makes it kind of easy to build. The front end has some damage. The clip is good itself. That'll get put on later on. I have some rework to do on the front itself, but I'll do that once it's up on the frame where it's easier to bend things around and get them straightened out. But like you see, there's a lot of stuff that's missing. It doesn't have the cowl. There's no windows, no glass anywhere. A lot of trim is missing, and we'll take care of a lot of that. I'll probably get replacement doors, so I end up with windows in the doors, get a new windshield put in, things like that. But it's going to be a real nice body to start off, pretty unique. Not too many of these around, definitely not in the mud. But it was a perfect candidate to do a rear engine. We'll just carve a hole in the floor. I'll probably have the engine mainly in the back seat and into the bed area. It is a truck style, so it's got a small bed, and it'll be high enough up where once it's built, you won't see the engine from up above. It'll be down inside. And it should come along pretty good. We'll just keep watching the progress as we go.
Want your videos on the show? Visit www.thecountrycompound.com for more information.
Yeah, that Chevy's got a big block. I can tell. Man, look at all that mud. Hey, who's that pretty girl in my truck?
Such a good ballerina.
Rob, you heard that
I think that's so called a pirouette or something.
Are you guys ready?
Oh, they've been recording.
Oh,
you
right.
so look like a what? Yeah.
That's okay.